This is the audio test and ported video test on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition and Samsung Galaxy S25. This is the selfie camera video recording. In terms of the sensors, we have 12 megapixel ultra wide, 10 megapixel telephoto, and 50 megapixel main sensor on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. And we have 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 10 megapixel telephoto on Samsung Galaxy S25. We're also using audio eraser on the latest S25. Which phone do you think is better? I hope you can hear the audio difference. Let the battle begin.
Let's start with 1x, which is the widest, and you will notice that Galaxy S25 is wider than the Fan Edition. I should say that the image is better exposed and brighter than the latest Fan Edition, while it's a bit toned down on Galaxy S25. Also, if you look on the background, it's a little bit warmer on S25 looking at the surroundings. Again, the jacket is cooler on S24 Fan Edition as well.
What you touch turns to gold. Are you seeing clear?
On the main sensor or 2x, I think if you don't know which phone is which on a blind test, you wouldn't notice the difference. And if we nitpick, again, a little bit warmer on S25 looking at the jacket, the face is always better exposed on the latest Galaxy S25 and a bit muted on Fan Edition. But if you look on the background, both phones are really good looking at the background blur and the bokeh.
Let me show you something that'll blow your mind. Now let me show you something that'll blow your mind. Now let me show you something that'll blow your mind.
On the ported zoom, I would go with Galaxy S25, no doubt. I think even in my previous comparisons with Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, it's a little bit washed out. You would notice that there's not much colors on Galaxy S24. It's just plain warm and white.
I like where this is going.
Also, we got 5 times digital zoom on Galaxy S25, so that's an extra focal length for the portrait mode.
What I touch turns to gold.
On selfie, I think they have the same look and tendency as the 3 times optical zoom of S24 FE. It's warm and a little bit washed out, but if you look on Galaxy S25, the white balance is really good and there's a lot of details on the face. I would give this to Galaxy S25.
Are you seeing clear? Are you seeing clear?
Now we're testing the video quality, starting with the selfie video recording in 4K 60 FPS. So we're doing this for me to show you how you would look like on both phones if you're doing vlogging or video recording of yourself. So Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition has 10 megapixel sensor, while Samsung Galaxy S25 has 12 megapixel. In terms of quality, a little bit soft on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, or is it? But you have better contrast on Samsung Galaxy S25. Now let's check the rear cameras. Now we're testing the ultra-wide lens in 4K 60 FPS, or rather 30 FPS, because we cannot do 60 FPS on S24 Fan Edition. It would only switch to 1x. So on the ultra-wide lens, we both have 12 megapixel sensors on each, a little bit bigger sensor on Galaxy S25. But in terms of the overall video quality, which phone do you think is better? Now we're testing the main sensor in 4K 60 FPS, because we can shoot 4K 60 FPS on both phones. We can also shoot 8K 30 FPS video recording. I'll probably do the 8K video recording test later outdoors when we're doing the stabilization test. Almost the same sensor for both phones. 1/1.57 on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. 1/1.56, so 0.01 difference in terms of the sensor size. Now let's check the zoom. And lastly, we're testing the zoom capabilities of both phones in UHD 30 FPS. So we have a 10 megapixel sensor on Samsung Galaxy S25 and 8 megapixel sensor on S24 Fan Edition. I think the colors is a little bit popping out on Samsung Galaxy S25, but in general, I think Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition is also fine with that 8 megapixel sensor. But in terms of the rear camera performance from the ultra wide main sensor and zoom, which phone do you think is better?
This is how you make me feel.
On the image quality test, if you look on the images, you will notice that Galaxy S25 has better and stronger colors than the competition, but Galaxy S24 Fan Edition is brighter and has better exposure. In terms of white balance, you would see that Galaxy S25 is warmer than the competition. This also affects the colors of the surroundings and the subject. In terms of details looking at these images, I would say they're almost the same. Again, the hardware speaks for itself. They both have the same 50 megapixel main sensor. In terms of colors, I think Galaxy S25 is closer in real life, what your eyes would see on real life, but S24 FE has more vivid and HDR look, which is also nice.
My mind on heaven. clouds now. Gonna go up, woo, in a real feel chill cool mood. Gonna go.
But on some shots, if you compare side by side, you wouldn't notice the difference. Both are really good smartphone for its price.
In a real feel chill cool mood. Gonna go up, woo, yeah, yeah. This is how you make me feel.
And looking at the focal length, we have ultra-wide main sensor and 3 times optical zoom on both phones, a battle of 8 megapixel versus 10 megapixel, and both can zoom up to 30 times. Also, in terms of slow motion, we got 4K 120 FPS on both phones. The only difference is you can shoot ultra-wide and main sensor on S25.
This is the outdoor and video stabilization test, starting with the selfie video recording 4K 60 FPS. So look at the sky and flaring here, and also a little bit of colors here on the houses. Let's check the video stabilization. Now let's check the rear cameras. Now we're checking the rear cameras UHD 30 FPS. So look at the color of the sky and the exposure in the building. I think better exposure on the sky on S24 Fan Edition. A little bit blown out on Galaxy S25. In terms of colors, more yellows on Galaxy S25 here. A little bit muted on S24 Fan Edition. Let's check video stabilization. Switching to the main sensor, if you look on the sky, natural looking on Galaxy S25 and a little bit bluish on S25 or S24 Fan Edition. But looking at the details, I think they're almost the same. 50 megapixel sensor, also the same sensor size. Not much to see here. Again, let's check the video stabilization. Again, bluish tone on S24 Fan Edition and natural looking on Samsung Galaxy S25. Going to the 3 times optical zoom. Again, same tendencies as the main and the ultra wide. Look at the details. This is a 10 megapixel versus 8 megapixel sensor. Checking the video stabilization. And looking at the farther zoom, we have 12x on S24 Fan Edition and also 12x on Samsung Galaxy S25. Which phone do you think is better in terms of zoom? Again, switching back to the ultra wide, which phone do you think is better?
Night shots are pretty good on both phones. On the grass, you would see more details on S25. Also, the surroundings has more colors, but the low light images are brighter on Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. Galaxy S25 crushes the shadows, which is not bad. It represents the night really well, but if you want a better exposed night shot, then S24 FE is the way to go. On pitch black condition, you will see that Galaxy S25 has more details and sharper than the competition, but sometimes also a bit darker. On the ultra-wide night shot, it's a tie. White balance goes to S24 Fan Edition on the main sensor, and I think on the optical zoom, it's Galaxy S25.
We're starting this low-light video test using the selfie camera, 4K 60 FPS. This is the highest frame rates and resolution on the selfie video recording. We have a 10 megapixel sensor on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, and we have a 12 megapixel sensor on Samsung Galaxy S25. In terms of video quality, we have better contrast or stronger contrast on Samsung Galaxy S24 and a little bit soft on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. Now let's check the rear cameras. Now we're testing the rear camera, starting with the ultra-wide lens in 4K 30 FPS. We cannot switch to 60 FPS because S24 Fan Edition defaults to 1x or the main sensor. In terms of the sensor size, we have 1/3 on Galaxy S24 Fan Edition and bigger at 1/2.55 on Samsung Galaxy S25. So even though I don't see the output right now, I feel like Galaxy S25 should perform better than S24 Fan Edition. But let me know your thoughts on the comment section below. Now let's check the main sensor. So this is the low-light video recording on both phones in UHD 60 FPS because we can do 60 FPS on both phones. Both phones can also shoot 8K video recording on the main sensor. In terms of sensors, we almost have the same 50 megapixel f1.8, 1/1.57 on S24 Fan Edition, and 1/1.56 on S25. I think they're both the same in terms of like the sensor size. So I would think that the video output is almost the same for both phones. But let me know again your thoughts on the comment section. So this is what it looks like, 8K 30 FPS video recording on S24 FE and Samsung Galaxy S25. And lastly, we have the 3x optical zoom on both phones. So 8 megapixel, 1/4.4 on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, and a 10 megapixel, 1/1.3.94 on Samsung Galaxy S25. So technically, bigger sensor on S25. But then again, since I don't see the video output on low-light video recording using the rear cameras, which phone do you think is better? So this is 8K 30 FPS video recording on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. And we also have 8K 30 FPS video recording on Samsung Galaxy S25. I think that's it for a camera comparison video between these two phones. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.